The one person business model, I believe, is a fascinating idea that I don't want to use the word all or everyone, but that I believe that most people in this world can benefit from. Just adapting this model into your current lifestyle, I believe that it could literally in time just make your life better, because what it does is it forces the responsibility, it forces the accountability, it forces you to get yourself together. Because when you really dive deep into the one person's business model, the way I see it, the way I view it, and from my experience, from my research, from my studying, and just the way how I'm living it every single day, it's all you. So you can look at it as, look at Apple or look at Amazon, look at Google, look at all these other businesses, and those businesses in particular. The more those businesses gain profit, the more those businesses earn their profit, is because they scale. Businesses that scale, you get businesses like Tesla, Amazon, Google. They are scaling and they are moving in where the world is moving. And so years ago, way before I really dive deep into business and into entrepreneurship and self-ownership and this one person's business model idea, I started to think that, why won't I just try to get paid to be myself? Out of all the interests that I have, I call myself a polymath. And if those who don't know what a polymath means, it's really just a generalist. A modern term, people will use the term generalist. It's somebody who I guess you could say somebody who has heavy interest in everything, and they have a variety of masterful skill sets in a variety of different disciplines. That's pretty much, and not only that though, is because it's not a jack of all trades. It's not somebody who, how can I put it? Somebody who has this shiny object syndrome. It's just, I need to learn this, I need to do this. It's not that. A polymath, a true generalist, they are somebody who's grounded heavily into their purpose and their vision of life, and they understand that their vision, that they can learn so many different things and so many different topics and study so many different disciplines, and they can tie it all in with that one vision. I hear Kobe Bryant, he talked about it a lot. Kobe Bryant studied so many different things. He done so many different things that, and related to basketball, his ultimate goal was, I want to be the best basketball player ever. I want to be the greatest basketball player ever. And so what he said was, with that mindset, with that mentality, the world became his oyster. So the world became his library. So when you think about that, what does that mean? The world becomes your library. The world becomes your library by you really challenging your curiosity, learning in all different businesses, all different people, reading all different books, studying all different courses, etc., etc., etc. There is this term called the synthesizer, and I'm paraphrasing, but what a synthesizer is that a synthesizer is, in my own words, and then I will also give you the prime definition. A synthesizer, in my words, is that somebody who really explicitly study and research heavily on the internet. They do a lot of research on the internet. They do extensive research on the internet, and they gather as much information as much as they can, and they talk and they educate about that information. And I think also, and I will say also, what they do is that they find how that information can serve their needs, their wants, and they present it out to the market. They present it out to the public. They write about it extensively. So here is the definition for synthesizer.
The term synthesizer has evolved beyond its traditional association with electronic musical instruments Traditionally, a synthesizer is an electronic instrument that generates audio signals to produce music. So today, it also refers to individuals who skillfully gather, analyze, and integrate information from various sources to create compelling and insightful content. So in the realm of the digital economy, most people will call this content creation, and you can pretty much combine the terms as a content synthesizer, which is someone who curates and combines information from diverse sources such as articles, videos, podcasts, and social media, and not limited to those. And you will craft new narratives that resonate with audiences. A synthesizer shares the best content they encounter in formats like writing, video, or even audio. This approach isn't just about aggregation, it's about transformation, turning disparate pieces of information into cohesive, engaging stories. The art of being a synthesizer is more than just content creation, though. Being a synthesizer involves creating diverse perspectives, gathering information from various fields to provide a well-rounded view, connecting the dots. This is what goes along with being a polymath, is what the term polymath and the definition that I described to you all as what a polymath actually does. Identifying relationships between seemingly unrelated topics, disciplines, and fields to offer fresh insights. You are connecting the dots and you're finding how all these different industries and fields and topics connect with one another, and you produce it to the media at large. Challenging the norms. I talk about this a lot. Challenging the status quo, questioning the conventional wisdom of the herd to present innovative ideas, engaging storytelling, crafting narratives that captivate and inform the audience. This is crucial in today's information-rich environment, when audiences seek content that not only informs, but it will also provide meaningful context and understanding. I've heard somebody say this before. Actually, it's a guy that I listen to on YouTube, and I cannot remember his name. I hate that I forget his name, because I would like to say his name so I can give him the credit. But I heard him say that, and he talks a lot about being a polymath. He talks a lot about learning so many different things. He's like a memorization master. He gives you these techniques and this information and stuff. He also has these courses on how you can memorize better, but learn so many different fields and subjects at one time, and how you can find the connection between all of them, and you can just learn this stuff at one time. Like, you can be studying math and history, and you can find the connection between them, and not only find the connection between those two, but you can also ingrain both of them into your mind for you to be able to memorize and understand them within your mind. He has these things that's called memory palaces. So it's really deep. But anyway, he said that context is king, content is God. So this is what being a synthesizer is. Synthesizer is not so much as is creating content. It's not about content. It's about context. In-depth, empirical, evidence, factual information that people can really use to better themselves and better their lives. So this is why I like the idea of being a synthesizer. That's why I like the idea of being a polymath. Being a polymath and synthesizer is pretty much the same thing, but I guess you can say a synthesizer is just a digital polymath, pretty much. What I will say is the synthesizer mindset is pretty much as having a polymathic mindset. If you're passionate about blending creativity with technology to tell impactful stories, adopting the synthesizer approach can set you apart. It's about more than just content creation. It's about becoming a trusted source of knowledge and insight in your niche. And not only just in your niche, just in your field, what you do. You are the niche. So I will say it's about becoming a trusted source of knowledge and insight in what you do and who you are becoming. And more of that consistently. That's what being a synthesizer is. There is no match to you if you embrace this type of way of living, if you embrace this mindset. You will not be able to be replicated. AI would not be able to match with you. No matter where the economy goes, you are always going to be in demand and be sought after if you keep on expanding your brain, keep learning, keep developing yourself as a human being. people are going to witness that how consistent you are, no matter where the economy is going, no matter where the world is going, no matter what is happening. You are just going to be there. Just keep pushing out context, valuable, reliable information that people can use and adapt to their lifestyle. It will be a blueprint, but it could be a blueprint where people can strategically use in their own unique way in their own life. So I love it. It won't be a one size fit all type of thing. You know, you'll be a lifestyle designer from based on how you're living. People can adapt that, and then the way I'm looking at it is that I can give people this blueprint, this source, but it's malleable though. It's created for you to adapt to your own unique way and use it how you see fit to use it in your unique living. So that's what being a synthesizer is. That's my perception of it. That's the way I see it. The synthesizer mindset, the entrepreneurial spirit, the polymathic mindset, those are cultures that you need to adapt for the one person business model, in my wholehearted opinion. So here's the thing. I've been talking about this on this channel a lot about multiple interests, being curious, and my brand, the utopian brand, the business, the conglomerate that I'm building, Utopia, YOUTOPIA, Utopia. It's literally that idea. It's the more you advance, the more you develop, the more you just become a better person. Personal development, human development. That's the way I look at it. The more you will optimize your wealth, the more you will earn, the more profit you will earn. Look at where the world is going. The world is pretty much forcing all of us in a way to go back to doing and learning so many different things. It's not about being a jack of all trades. It's not about being a jack of all trades. A jack of all trades is not grounded. A polymath is grounded. You know what you need to do. You know what you want to do. You understand your vision. You have your principles intact. You have your values intact, your core values intact. And you understand, just like Kobe Bryant, the world becomes your library. He wants to be the best basketball player ever. I will say, in not relation to that, but I will say that equivalent to that. That's the word I was looking for. Equivalent to that, being the best basketball player ever, being the best human being ever. And I thought about that yesterday while I was listening to him say that, and I said, like, I was thinking to myself, I think it was just even more deeper about Kobe Bryant than just being the best basketball player ever. Kobe Bryant was searching. Kobe Bryant was mastering, was studying, was learning, was training to be the best person that he possibly could be. That's why he kept going after basketball. He got into Hollywood, he got into movies. And a lot of people don't know this unless you really study Kobe Bryant, but basketball wasn't really something that he mainly wanted to do. That wasn't his first love. It was writing. He said that he loved writing. He said he started writing. I think he said his English teacher helped him find the love of writing. But basketball came first. But see, that's the thing. Kobe Bryant was the ultimate polymath. He if you listen to his interviews, he studied so many different things. He studied conductors, he studied actors, he studied Heath Ledger. He studied so many different people in businesses and industries, and he transitioned into basketball. But he used basketball also, and this is a quick thought, also kind of what Jeff Bezos used Amazon. Kobe Bryant used basketball, Jeff Bezos used Amazon to get to what their ultimate vision is. Jeff Bezos said his ultimate vision is he always wanted to explore space. He wanted to always, that's his ultimate main vision. But if you study, and if you research all the different things that Jeff Bezos learned and studied and he mastered, same for Kobe Bryant. These guys are going, they're excelling, they're not stopping.
you know. And so think about how other people, how they lack that ambition, how they lack that curiosity. And it's not hard things to have, it's not hard things to find, because we all have had it. I don't want to use the word all, but I believe that the vast majority of people, the vast majority of mankind, we was born with this ambition, we was born with this curiosity. For somehow, some way, some way down the line, as we were growing, we lost that curiosity. We lost that compelling desire, that compulsion to learn more, to understand more, to ask more. We're not even asking the right questions, and that's a problem to me. And that, to me, I believe is one of the biggest problems that this world is facing today, is that people have lost their obsession to understand. And I think that the more we drive to understand, but also acknowledging that we may not understand. Sometimes it's okay to not understand, and sometimes it's okay for a question to not have the answer. It's okay. But it's not so much just to understand. It's the process of understanding. It's not so much about just to become. It's the process of becoming. It's not so much just to figure it out. It's the process of figuring it out. And when you acknowledge that, figuring, becoming, understanding, searching, developing, those things, ing, and consistently in the process of that, you will be living a life of fulfillment, a fulfilling lifestyle. Because you're going to know what you want. You're going to know your vision. You're going to understand. You're going to gain so much clarity. But the thing about it is that I believe that we will always be so fulfilled because there is no end result. You know, when you go on a vacation, or when you're going to a major event, or when you're visiting family that you love, a friend that you love, or your girlfriend, or whatever, you know, you're in a great relationship, and those things end. You know how depressing you can get? You know how depressing you acknowledge? Take a quick thought real quick and just get into the nostalgia of how you felt when something felt so good, so pleasurable to you, that it just all of a sudden just ended. Maybe a relationship, maybe you're thinking that you and your boyfriend is good, or you and your girlfriend is good, then all of a sudden they come and they lay their hammer down on you. Boom. I thought everything was going well. I love this person. You know, or I remember Dandy Lewis, he talks about how much passion he has for acting and making films, and he says how obsessed he is and how curious he is, and he becomes just in general of a person, but really for that one character. And he says that when the director says that's a wrap, Daniel Day-Lewis says that he falls into a deep depression when that movie ends, when they're done with it. He goes, I don't really know what to do with myself after that. And that's the thing. He is so in tune with this project, that when the director says that's a wrap, he gets depressed. And so that's what I'm talking about. But real quick, I believe that's why Dandy Lewis he always quits acting. He always gets in retirement, because he says he gets so depressed when movies end. He doesn't ever want them to end. And so the same process of what he was doing, what he did to embody that character, He says that he goes into the real world and he does the exact same thing. He's learning, he's developing, he's becoming, he's understanding, he is searching, he is discovering, he is exploring life. That's the beauty of it. And that's why I love acting so much. Because I even said to myself that I don't even like calling myself an actor. I like to say that I'm an explorer or more discoverer. But when I'm talking to people out and about, and sometimes they will ask me about if I'm an actor or whatnot, I will just say, yeah, I act. But I don't even like saying it because I think that limits me. That limits all actors. We're not actors. We're really a real serious one who really wants to dive deep into the role, into the character. You're an explorer. You're a discoverer of life, and I believe that's what you all should do. I think that's what we all really should go back to doing, is really being synthesizers, being polymaths, being journalists. Because when you do that, you will know that you will never ever fall out of love with this, because you are focusing on self. You are developing yourself, and the more you improve, the more you develop, the more of your wealth will optimize, the more of your prosperity will gain, the more you will gain prosperity. And that to me is living. That to me is the beautiful part of life. If you're not understanding, if you're not figuring it out, if you're not learning, developing, we're not growing. And if we're not growing, we're dead. And here's the thing, on the contrary, I use one of these phrases, die every day. What does die every day? What do I mean by that? Die every day. What I'm talking about is consistently ridding of yourself, canceling your culture and killing your past self, so you can continue to learn more about who you truly are internally, your core. And so you can also get rid of the arrogance, get rid of the ignorance, get rid of the dogmatism, the dogmatic attitude, the arrogant attitude that you don't need to learn more, you don't need to develop more, you don't need to become more, because you can probably somehow get caught up in your past, in what you did. I did this, look what I'm doing, I have this title, I have this degree, I wrote this book. But it doesn't matter anymore. That's the past. The past, I said many times on this channel, the past doesn't exist anymore. It happened and it's done. It doesn't exist. What matters right now is right now in the future. We need to master now, to build our future. That's what we need to focus on doing. And our future selves will thank us. We will not grow as people if we will not expand our mind. And we can only expand our mind by continually to keep searching and using the world as our library. That's the only way. And we have to force our mindsets. It's really hard to do, because when you start trying to get into topics in industries and businesses, in disciplines and subjects, fields, topics, some of that stuff is going to be very, how can I put it? It can be terrifying. You can read a book on physics and you could be terrified by what the physics book is talking about, or a book on economics. But it doesn't matter. Just understand what the vision is. Understand why you're doing this. You're doing this. You're reading this book on physics. You're reading this book on mathematics. And you may say, "Oh, how am I going to use that and apply that to my life?" You may not apply it to your life. But here's the thing: your mind will still expand, because you're learning something hard. You're learning something tough. You are challenging your mind to learn something new. Every time when you learn something new, you just become more wiser, and your mind just expands even more, and your perspectives on life on different things start to change. You start to think differently. You start to move differently. You start to behave differently. You may not ever use that skill tangibly. You may not ever use it physically, but eternally, that skill will be used. It's a skill, is something that you have learned, it's part of your intellectual property, and it's something that nobody can take away from you. And it's something that you can feel accomplished by because you took the time, you got into the monotonous process of learning something that took time. That is fulfillment. So that's what you're doing. You are fulfilling yourself. So don't get caught up in that cliche bullcrap of people say, oh, why do I need to learn calculus? I mean, you're never going to learn. You're never going to use it. Physically, maybe not. But it doesn't matter. Your body can be using it for its own personal self, personal development. You can have the evidence now, and you can have the courage and you can be more confident now that, hey, I just taught myself calculus. I just taught myself physics. I just taught myself linear algebra. I just taught myself discrete mathematics. I just learned that. I think I could learn this. Maybe you got a promotion, or maybe you got a new job, and if you probably didn't learn discrete mathematics prior to this job, you probably would have been terrified. But now you're like, I know I just learned accounting a month ago, or I just learned aeronautic mechanics 2 months ago. I can do this. You know what I'm saying? So it's the confidence. It's just the ability to learn. Some martial artists, they are. I have a master. He's a 10th degree black belt. 10 Dan. I have another sensei that I study with who studied under this master. He's a 4 Dan. He's a 4th degree black belt, and I don't think they'll ever have to use those skills. They don't ever want to use them. They don't ever want to use those skills. You know, they don't ever want to use that fighting ability to be able to hurt somebody because somebody wants to be a fool and test them and fight them, because they're never going to start a fight. They are one of the most, Sensei Mike, he's one of the most peaceful, he is the most peaceful, gentle person I have ever met. I talked about him in my last video. And that's a skill that he has. That's a really valuable skill that he has that he may not ever use. But I guarantee you, that skill that he mastered, that he has been learning since he's been 4, I think he said he's been studying since he's been 4 or 6. It has something to do with his confidence. It has something to do with his peacefulness, with his gentleness, with him being in tune with himself. It's not about you always having to use it. That's what being part of a gentle beast is for my man who's watching this. You don't have to show that you're dangerous. You don't have to show that, hey, I'm not somebody that you want to fool with. You don't have to show that. I think a great part of power and a great part of empowerment is having the power, having the ability to really do something dangerous and never do it. Never having to do it. I think that there's great power in that. Unless you absolutely have to. And hopefully pray for God that, if God willing, that it never will. But you know you are capable of it. And so when you know you're capable of it, you just have that confidence that you can just do other things. You can do more. You walk with a type of aura a little bit more. That's the beauty of it. So this one person business model, I believe that I want to avoid the word all. I hate that. I was talking to somebody. I was talking to this girl the other day or weeks ago, something I can't remember. But we got into a huge debate because she was talking about, oh, I think that everybody should do therapy. Everybody should have therapy, and I never had therapy in my life, and I don't ever plan on taking therapy. I don't need therapy, and yeah, what I do for myself is what I do for myself, and there's nothing that a therapist can tell me that I already don't know, or if I don't know, that I already cannot figure out by myself. I'm too self-reliant for that. But that's besides the point. I just said that, no, she was like, I believe everybody should take therapy. In my mind, I automatically check out when people say every, all, any. Because when you speak in terms of absolute, I say that you're an absolute liar. You shouldn't generalize, and you shouldn't speak in terms of absolute, because you don't know if everyone all. You just don't know. There's always there's most of the time outliers, you know, and you got to take those things out of your vocabulary. Always, all, every, you know. But the thing about it is that I forgot the point that I was making about the therapy. But the thing about it is that when this one person business model, I believe it's a oh yeah, that was just using the word therapy just to explain that. She mentioned all, and not everybody needs therapy. I think that's a ridiculous thing. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying the danger of using these absolute terms. We shouldn't use them, and we should avoid them, and that's why I'm trying to avoid it in this video. But I just believe that a lot of people, the vast majority of people, can really benefit from at least trying entering this process, this one person's business model, especially where the world is going now. You know, with technology, the world is advancing very fast, at a very fast pace, and you can really solidify yourself on not being replaceable. You can become irreplaceable by adapting this one person business model, just taking time every day and just challenging yourself on one hard task per week, you know, and just keep learning. Just have this obsession of curiosity, and just know that the end result, the end goal is the more high demand valuable skills that I instill within myself. Start with high demand skills, yes. Writing, arithmetic, coding, mathematics, writing, arithmetic, coding, persuasion, microeconomics. I would say those are five disciplines that I believe that those are high demand, that if you take time learning those every single day, everything else can just be very, very simple of you learning. But just know that the more you equip yourself with these high demand skills, and just skills in general, valuable skills, and I won't even argue, you know, start with those skills first. But I even argue, even if the skills aren't high demand, even if they're not that valuable, they're going to be valuable to you. Like I mentioned, it's going to do wonders for your confidence. So the end goal is the more I learn, the more my wealth will optimize, the more my mind will expand, the better I will be able to understand people, understand things, understand why, and be able to indulge into the process of learning. So that's all I have today. That was something that was on my heart, on my mind, and we'll be back very soon. And I thank you all so much for watching this video, and you have a very great day.